The other day, I had a person on the YouTube channel who wanted to know how you make a tension line. And it got me thinking, maybe there are people who don't understand what a tension line is in the first place, so I'll go over what they do, why you have them on a fighter kite, or why you might want one, and show you how to tie one. At least I'll show you how to tie the one I use all the time. And all it is really is just a slip knot. It's a knot that allows you to change the position of the knot, and the knot stays where you put it. Now, in a diamond-shaped fighter kite like this, the bow here has a permanent bend created by bonding it to the sail. But the spine doesn't have a permanent bend. It's flat unless you bend it. And in a fighter kite, it has to have a bend in order for it to fly correctly. Now, this kite, I used a tension line, and this is a line that I tied from here to here that adjusts in such a way that I can change the amount of the bend. So if I'm flying the kite in certain winds, the bend I may want to have less or more than it is now. So I can move that and flatten out the bend or increase the bend. Now, if you use a bamboo spine, which I typically do, this is part bamboo and part carbon fiber on this particular kite, but I typically use bamboo. And with bamboo, normally it will hold the bend that you put in it with just the heat of your hands making the bend. But sometimes when you're in humid weather, the bamboo will actually return to its flat, straight position. It'll lose its bend because of the humidity. So sometimes I put a tension line even on a bamboo spine. Another way a fighter kite tension line is used is in a rectangular kite, like a buka, like this one, or in a Korean style fighter kite. In those kites, the leading edge spar in both the Korean and the buka, which is a Japanese design, the buka has to have a bend in the leading edge in order for it to fly correctly. And the way you get that bend is by putting a line, a tension line, between the upper or leading edge corners of the kite. And in this one, it's an adjustable knot. It's called a taut-line hitch is what I use. And it allows me to make the kite have a more severe bend or a much less of a bend. Very easy, and it holds after you reset it or set it. So it's a good knot to know, and it can allow for a very quick, easy way to adjust any bend in any spar of a kite. Now, when I make them using, for example, on a buka or Korean kite or kite with a leading edge bend, I put little pieces of heat shrink tubing that I just glue with super glue onto the spar. And I use that as a stop so that the knot won't go sliding down onto the spar. Now, super glue by itself usually will hold it. at the place that it's glued. But I put these little stops on because it adds a little bit of, I guess you'd call it insurance. Now, if you're using flat carbon, or in this case, this is bamboo, in this one I drilled a hole into the bamboo and simply ran the line through the hole and tied a knot to stop it from coming back. And I'm going to use this to show you how to tie the taut-line hitch that I use all the time. Now, I use two pieces of line. One is just a loop. I use a lark's head knot, which is just wrapping it around the spar and pulling it tight. That's a lark's head knot. And I glue that knot. If I don't have a stop, I use only just the glue itself. But if I have a stop, the glue has, the stop has been glued, so I don't have to worry about it. But I'm going to let this sit for a minute so that it will hold. Now, the taut-line hitch is just a line, I'll get this out of the way here, that goes through the loop that you may secure to the other side of the spar that you want to put the bend in. So you have a little loop, and then you tie the longer line, the one you're going to make the knot with, to the other end of the spar that you want bent. So I'm going to run this through this line. I hope you can see this. I'm going to run this under itself, actually. And then I'm going to loop it around itself this way. So I have it like this now. And I'm going to do that one more time. So then I have it looks like this. I hope you can see that. And then I bring the tail of this across the other line under the longer line, and then just poke the end through here. And then snug it up. Now, it's a knot. Well, it's actually a hitch. That's what it's called, but it's a knot. I call it a knot. But it allows the shorter side to slide on the longer one, so that I can tension this and create a bend in it, and it will stay that way. Well, it will if I do it correctly. Now, because I have to snug the line up a little bit here, these are larger, much larger diameter lines than I'm used to using. So that's how I do it, and that's what they're for and how they're used. I hope that's useful.